I don't want to force anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How do you feel on that?
Yeah, I feel the same.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about Married at First Sight. This is a part one because we're going to keep it short. It's going to be about less than an hour, and then we'll drop a part two a little bit later on, around about 10ish. Okay, your time EST. I'll drop a part two, and we'll talk about the rest of the couples. But there's one couple that I think we need to talk about at least, or one or two at least couples we need to talk about. Gina and Clint is one of them, and the other one seems to be Aris and Jasmine, because I don't know what the heck is going on. You know what I mean? Aris, I tried to defend you, okay, but we are going down a lane that I cannot follow you down, okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about those couples, and I'm sure we'll have one or two more people joining the show as well. So if you are new to the channel, do me a massive favor: like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads, and we appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. All right, you know, already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there are hot. All right. Don't waste much time. I want to get straight into this. Well, let's talk straight. You know, Arris and Jasmine were seemingly having a good time. They went snorkeling. You know, they had some drinks. You know, great conversation, and then the dinner table situation. Because I'm not sure what happened there, but a dinner table situation. Aris kind of says some things. I'm like, Aris, why are you spoiling the party? You know, and he started to talk about sexual positions, and he was talking about the fact that, you know what, my wife's a little bit more conservative, so I wanted to try and drag her out. So we'll have a little clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we saw on this episode as well.
The best at expressing the things that I like and that I want in that aspect, so I'm just gonna really like to talk about it.
It's giving lady vibes.
Lady, I am a lady.
It's giving.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Aris and Jasmine. Sean, what was your thoughts here to Aris and Jasmine and their situation? You know, because old boy was out here really talking about the CX.
Yeah, I just want to. I'm just trying to blame it on alcohol. I just want to blame it on alcohol.
I hear you on alcohol.
Because if it's not the alcohol, that it's he's on some tomfoolery right now. We can't defend him anymore. You know, listen, we got to call ourselves to the front of the church, right, and just say, Father God, we ask for forgiveness, because we tried to sign off with him with the get on your knees comment, and now we see what it's led to here. Your favorite sexual position. He's out of order. So I can't defend him anymore. You know, I was wrong. Ladies, y'all were completely right. You know, a man should not be talking like this, and this is why, because it just opens the door to even more foolishness. So, yeah, bro was just kind of talking reckless. And I think, like, there's nothing wrong with having these conversations, but it's got to be time and season. You have to also know the woman that you're with. There's so many ways that if he wanted to have this conversation, it'd probably be better to have this kind of conversation offline, right? A private one. And then you let her know, right? Because, you know, sometimes our afterlives get spicy and we have some of the ladies and we ask questions, but we always give a disclaimer. We're going to ask some more spicier questions. Are you down with that? Right? You know, we got to give people an opportunity to check out if they want to check out, and also give them a heads up for what's about to come, right? But he just went right into it. So yeah, I think he's moving wrong. I tried to avoid all the only child, you know, stuff that's coming his way as a fellow only child, only son too. But he's really coming off very selfish too. It's not interested in her. It seems like everything is one-sided. Feed me, take care of me, cater to me. And he just wants all this attention, and he wants to be able to kind of like be the benefactor of everything that Jasmine's going to give him.
Yeah, I think as well, you're absolutely right, because in that particular space as well, you know, there was a scene where if I get my notes correctly, I can get the actual clip for you guys as well. There's a scene where that same scene when they're talking, just before even the sexual talk, something actually happens. So she feeds him some of the lobster, and as she feeds him the lobster, he just eats the whole entire lobster piece. She was like, "Oh, you ate the whole lobster piece," and that's the part of the selfishness that actually even plays on it. It's like it's similar to the whole grape situation as well, where he's like, "Feed me grapes," and I think I want. Let me not go there. I don't want to go there. Because obviously we saw potentially he could be liking someone else, which is Dominique in it. We've seen in some previews. Apparently he could be liking Dominique. Apparently he could be. It's just rumors.
Coach, I sent a clip. No, Dominique is into somebody else.
Oh.
It's Mr. Ginger.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't see the clip I posted in our
I must have missed it.
Chat. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Fireworks there's a little lip swapping.
Oh, okay. So let's leave that alone. But yes, he was very selfish with the lobster tail, and she noticed it as well. I think I got a clip. Let me get the clip. Yes, here we go.
You gonna eat the whole thing? The lobster tail good.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's the little things, you like when she mentioned you're gonna eat the whole thing. Yes, because you was meant to bite it and send it back. That's what it was supposed to do. And he just literally just ate it all, no concern for her, just like the grape situation again. It's giving me and more of me, and I think that is the biggest issue here. I think again, even the conversation that it leads into when he's talking about sex, him wanting to say, I think she's a bit more like, conservative, and I know I'm the kind of person that will bring it out of her. Again, it's giving problematic. You know what I mean? I'm going to be the one that's going to bring it out of her. Already doesn't sound too great because we haven't even worked on anything else yet. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's giving a little bit of a problem here. Just saying. I'm not feeling it.
And look, I don't want to, come all the way for the brother, but if he's busy trying to, get her down to the bedroom, right? It's sounding like he's going to be selfish in the bedroom too.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't look like he's going to be sharing anything.
And you heard what she said. She said that, she's open to more pleasurable experiences because it sounds like she might be towards the end where she hasn't fully enjoyed it, right? Or been with the man that has made her feel comfortable enough to enjoy it. And unfortunately, it's not Arris. And I just feel bad because she just has such what a great, accommodating, easygoing, great energy and attitude. You don't see, you see all the different archetypes that they throw on the show, but very often do you get, a woman that's just so friendly like that and so easygoing and really just, for what I can see at this point, non-problematic. She just seems to be, and again, her relationship experience, but listen, everybody got something. But for the most part, she tolerates his antics. She's always willing to do things for him. He sent her to the door to go, when they were the first night to go get the room service, and she just willingly went. I just feel like she might get a little steamrolled by this guy. Hope not, but it looks that way.
Yeah, I think also as well, I think the biggest thing here that I see is that, I think the biggest thing, I think the biggest craziness is if you go back earlier when they have a conversation about her mum, he's really accommodating, saying he wants to help and everything. So it's almost confusing because you got one part of him saying, look, your mum loves me. I wouldn't mind helping you, coming with you to the hospital, coming, helping you and da 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 da. And then we get this other selfish side of him where it's just like about the sex situation. There's so much push on the sexual side. That tells me, I think, going back when I remember a few weeks at the very beginning when he spoke about him never ever being in love, and then also, he said actually this episode, not been in love. And then also as well, I think about I think he was talking earlier on about the connection that he's had with women in the past, about being hurt. Yes, being hurt in the past and it taking him a long time. I wonder if he struggles to be actually vulnerable. And so sex is his means of being able to, quote unquote, communicate, be vulnerable, and be open, because it's weird, because he was happy to support her in the mum situation, but then you see all these little tiny behaviors where he's just, or maybe I don't want to say maybe it's just, you know, being an only child, but he's just someone who doesn't maybe think ahead of time in terms of what his language and what it actually denotes as well, and what it actually means, because he has no problem pushing those boundaries. And I think that's the biggest thing for Arris. He has no problem pushing her particular boundaries in that aspect as well. Yeah, it's a bit of a mad thing.
I would happen to agree. Yeah, I think that the part that he said about being supportive, I want to see it first. Sorry. After his behavior and the way he's acted, I just don't. It could be a little performative to me, because you know what he also said that threw me for a loop. What if your sister likes me? What?
Yes. No, bro. Oh my freaking word. Yes. Bro, when he said that, I said red fucking flag.
Yeah, he's trying to take down the whole family. What's he got going on? Again, these people are on the wrong show. He needs to be on one of them poly shows on TLC or something, because he's on the wrong show.
You not told no lies. I actually remember that, bro. When he said that, I was confused. I was like, no, this doesn't sound right. Like this, when you're playing a game and you don't really care about the person, and you're trying to move dangerous. This is the kind of stuff that you kind of say. You know what I mean? This is the kind of stuff that you say. It's the kind of stuff that you say to break. This is the darkest of the darkest arts. If I'm honest with you, this is of the dark spectrum of arts. And this is when you're trying to break the person. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm like concerned by it. I'm like, because when you start saying about what if your sister likes me, what it does is it's meant to set insecurity in a person's heart. Right? So now whenever you see her with your sister, what you gonna think? Do you get what I'm saying? It's an intentional ploy. It's a dark art. I can't lie to you. It's an absolute dark art. And it is going to cause insecurity in the other person. And oftentimes it's done so that the person can be in a position of chasing. So it kind of lowers their esteem, so they can always be in a place where they're always chasing you. Yeah, listen, hey, look, you know, this is the darkest of the darkest art. You know, Arris is kind of unassuming with it, but I can see it. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a mad thing, you know. And that could be also because you know, he's a person who needs to feel that, you know, a woman completely is engulfed in him, and that's that fear again. That's where it gets to, wanting a person to be in that space, you know. AC way, sorry, let me read. I know you don't want to be that close. AC, we're talking about Aris and Jasmine. How you doing? You right, babe?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Loving the hair, loving the edges.
Thank you.
We love you.
Edge control, baby. Edge control. She said, let me take this toothbrush and do what I need to do, baby. Just take the toothbrush and edge up the control, baby.
This is my skin routine, okay?
Come on, face glowing, hair popping. All right. We appreciate this. But we're talking about Arris.
You are a taken woman. Oh, that's you shut up, because I always get yelled at. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just gonna be quiet.
I like your sister.
Compliment.
I like your sister.
They yell at you for coming at me. That's what they yell at you.
No, you and Jay always like, why you always got to talk about who we with?
Oh, that yeah. We do.
But see, what's your thoughts on the Aris and Jasmine situation? It seems like you've improved absolutely right, 100%, Siwe. So well done.
And now I'm gonna have to caveat my opinion with all of my opinions are mine. If I happen to agree with Sean and Kojo, it's only because I agree. It's not because I feel the need to. I just want to get that out there because I've been seeing that lately. But you know, I would say that Arris at many points pleasantly surprised me in this episode. with the things that he said, and then he also disappointed me in other parts of the episode. You know, like being very inappropriate at the dinner table, talking about different positions. He really seems kind of emotionally delayed. Like for 39, he gives off 29-year-old vibes. I don't know if it's just because he looks young and acts young, but he just doesn't seem like anybody who's been on this planet for 39 years. The way he acts is very, very immature. And I would go as far as saying delayed. But I really did like the way he offered to be there for her and her family and her mother. That was unprompted. I wanted to know that was unprompted. She didn't ask him for that support. He came out, he did that on his own volition, which shows an intention to do right. Will he have the follow through to do right? I'm not sure. But I did like the fact that he did, at least in his head, you could tell that he wants to do better. Kind of like that Olajuwon. Like Olajuwon, his capacity was limited at times, but I think a lot of times his heart was in the right place. And I hope Arris's heart is in the right place. And at least he showed that with that statement. I think his immaturity came up later at the dinner table, talking about different positions. It was just very inappropriate. I gave that first initial caveat to say I do agree with Sean that what's her name again? Help me.
Jasmine.
I don't know why she just doesn't feel like a Jasmine to me. Jasmine has one of the sweetest hearts and souls I feel like I have seen on Maps in a really long time. She is really accommodating, really sweet. She seems very even-keeled. She's that like fit, feminine, submissive stuff that y'all be asking for. She just really seems like a really good girl. And I hope perhaps her personality is what Arris is going to need to kind of push him in the right direction, because I don't think they could have matched him with a nicer girl so far. I think they really, really match him with a really sweet girl. And if he can't make it work with her and her accommodation, and the way she's already catered to him a little bit too much, if you ask me, I don't know what to say for Arris. He's in trouble because he has a really nice girl. So I'm trying to be positive because I do think there was actually really sweet moments about this episode, and I did smile when he said, "I'll watch all 20 of your dogs." I was like, that's really sweet. That's a helpmate, That's what you need. If we as women are going to get married, you need to get something out of it, And I was like, that's really been a helpmate. That's really sweet. And then he went on to act like Arris of last week. Arris from around the way. that Arris came back, but I did appreciate that initial moment.
You're gonna leave us something. Yeah, I mean, yeah, honestly, I think with Arris, I'm trying to figure out whether it's game or whether it's like, what I'm saying, like he said about same with Elijah Juwan. You want to do better, but you don't have the capacity to do better. You know what I mean? Like you see yourself doing better, but it's very hard to change old habits. And I wonder if that's the case. You know what I mean? Because I was saying before you got here, I was saying to Sean, I wonder, it does seem like he's. I thought he was emotionally detached, maybe a little bit as well. Hasn't really gotten over the past hurt, because I remember in his the beginning when we get to know him, his thing was he has been hurt in the past, and it took him a long time to get over it. It took him 12, 30 years to get over the past hurt. And I said, yeah, that sounds like a wound that's bigger than just a girlfriend hurting you or ex hurting you. That sounds like either a mummy or daddy issue, which is connected with a girl hurting you, which has doubled over. Do you know what I mean? And you fail to deal with it. And in that case, if someone like that is wounded like that, sex becomes the method of communication and becomes a method of connecting with someone beyond before connecting with that person on an emotional level. So he generally could be offering his help, but then his nature of consistently trying to use sex as a vehicle of connection can actually prohibit the connection, because he's not actually really getting close enough to get to know the person. So he's actually shielding himself from being hurt again by guarding the heart, which is what's part of that emotional communication and that emotional connection with somebody, but using sex as a way of like, oh no, I like you, I love you, I appreciate you. This sex is my way of kind of communicating with you. If anyone tells you sex is their way of telling you they love you, I'm gonna tell you straight, I appreciate that, but it ain't true. Because sex is only an aspect, it's a shard of, it's not the way that you show someone love. And if you're stuck at the sex part, I would implore you to look a bit deeper, because we should have more connections than just sex. You know what I mean? We can have sex with anybody. And that's the honest truth. But connection requires us to actually converse, to talk, to get to know, to extract information from one another, to generally dive deep and actually find out who that person is right in front of you, and not consistently ask questions about. It's the fact that, do you know what was even wild? It's the fact that he asked her favorite color only to dive back into what sex was. That's what took me off. I said, bro, like, so you asked a sex question, and she said, listen, do you know what? I'm going to be a little bit conservative about it. For you to then ask a question about her favorite color, then to say, well, people who like lavender actually like backshot. Like, bro, that is wild to me, bro. It is the wildest kind of connections I've ever heard. Plus, I never heard lavender ends like backshot. I heard they like no jokes, but I've never heard that. So it's just wild to me. Yeah,
He made that up. He completely
yeah,
made that up.
And that's scary. That part's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head with his I think it's somewhere in between him being delayed and his hurt that is allowing him to use sex as a vehicle as a wall, because it seems he's almost using it like the way Nicole, was that the shoulders? Who's the girl with the shoulders? Her name Nicole?
Yeah.
The way she kind of brought up sex in her relationship, like, are we gonna do it? It's the same type of like unnatural way to bring it up. Like, this is not a real connection. Or the way Clara used it with Ryan. Like, you don't even really want him like that. You're just doing something. And that, when people are just doing something, that's when you need to wait even longer. Like, you really need to force him out of his comfort zone to make him show intimacy in a real way, mental intimacy, other forms of intimacy. Or I think it'll be really easy for them to fall into his same patterns of being with people and never being in love. He has to go deeper. He has to be pushed to go deeper. And I hope Pastor Cal don't come with the bull crap. Have you guys done this yet? No. I need you to give real advice and really push them to grow intimacy. That's what they need, not just the actual do, So that's what I hope. And I hope Pastor Cal doesn't come with his bull crap per usual. You awake, Sean?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You know that something, Sean?
Yeah, no, I would definitely say that this is not a yellow or green sign for her to proceed. She should be proceeding with caution, when it comes to him, because all roads should not lead to sex, right? Although they're married, and a lot of times we, want to see if that connection is further. I think this is one of those where I'm okay with her taking her time, because I need to see more of his character, and especially because she's so nice, and she has mentioned that her picker is off, and that's been an issue of hers in previous relationships. So I'm just so scared that she's going to get hurt, because she's naively going into this expecting him coming to the table with being genuine, expecting him coming to the table with really being open to the process. I did like that she kind of questioned it, that he had never been in love before. I thought it was also very smart of her to shift the conversation and start to talk about his previous relationships and what are some of the things that he's learned and what are some of the things that she's learned. So I thought that was great, that she was able to redirect and kind of talk about some more important things. And she uncovered something that's a touch concerning, because we talk about, ladies, right? When they haven't had relationships in their mid-30s or never been in love in some of the other shows, or when we talk about these types of topics. And I think it is a big red flag to be 39 and to not have been in love not one time. I think I'm sorry, that's a red flag, you know? And it just shows that you've been out there. And listen, it's not a red flag if you want to be a bachelor, right? It's not a red flag if you just want to be out here and just have a good time. But it is a red flag if your first experience with love and a marriage is it married at first sight. Which, if he's never been in love, that means he has nowhere near ever been remotely close to an altar. So this is his first experience with a relationship that could lead to marriage, is married at first sight. So yeah, that's very concerning. Very, very, very concerning. So I'm definitely, after finding that out and matching that up with his actions, I'm concerned. I don't see this going much of anywhere. And then after he already said that she's not his normal type, you know, it would take a miracle.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go for it, Siba.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask if you saw Nina's comment. I don't know if you understood it. I think I understand it, but yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like Kojo, this is your lane, so maybe you understand what she's saying.
My lane.
I don't do much of that.
Can we use Aris and Jasmine as a springboard to how men can take women from their feminine energy into their masculine, because she's on a road to structure with her submissive femininity? I can answer that question for you, but go for it, Sean.
I was going to say no, because you should be who you are always. You should be who you are. You shouldn't be flipping and flopping in and out of femininity and masculinity based on whomever you're in relationship with. And you definitely shouldn't be allowing people that you have negative experiences with to change who you are. So a man that you interact with shouldn't be able to morph you from a feminine woman into a masculine one. No. So I disagree with that. I think what situations like this is to be alert of the different types of men that are out there, to have your guard up before you enter into relationships, right? And you give everybody the benefit of the doubt. You come into situations starting fresh. And I think that's what happens too often in relationships on men and women's side, is we take whatever baggage that people did to us in the past, and then we enter into that, and then we start treating the men like that, or we start treating the women like that. That's why you have the manosphere, right? And so they say, oh, we know female nature, so you're going to treat women accordingly. No. We should respect all women. We should treat all women the right way. And then if they show us something different, then we can remove ourselves from the situation, but we don't change who we are. So that's my thought.
I'm screaming at this twerking, pop locking, and dropping in and out of femininity. What is wrong with you?
I said morphing.
You did come around to where I wanted you to go. So I'm not going to say I have something to debate. I do think that a lot of men do get women like Jasmine who are in their femininity, and they, instead of embracing that and covering them, they take it for granted and they abuse them. But I do think the answer is, if that's happening, then to leave. Because, you know, getting buck and getting strong with someone who's taking your I don't want to say, because we submit unto each other, but your submissiveness in your way, for granted, and abusing it, is, there's no point in even changing who you are if that's really who you are at your core. I think a lot of times, though, that's not who you are. That's not who women are at their core, and they're pretending because they're listening to all these folks on the podcast telling them that they need to be fit, feminine, and submissive, and that's not really their nature. Like my little brother told me today, you have masculine energy. And I said, I do. And that was the end of the conversation. There really was nothing else to say. I'm not going to sit here and debate with somebody. I'm not going to debate because I know it's true. But I'm also not going to be like being fake and trying to be like a person that I'm not. And then when a man makes me mad, then now all of a sudden I'm rah, 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 rah. No, the rah, rah is the real me. The other part was the fake me. So I would just say, be yourself. And if you're really that type of person and you see someone not abusing you or taking you for granted, then move around. And if you're not that, then be who you are, you know? So I guess I agree.
I agree. I mean, I personally think I think Jasmine is feminine, but there's an aspect which I think everyone has to learn, which is we all need both the masculine and the feminine, right? So if I'm lacking the feminine energy, you'll see me unable to access my emotional side. I'm not saying women emotions, but it's the emotional side, the creativity of my side, the ability to receive. I'll be lacking in those areas, and you'll see it play out in relationships, right? So those men who don't have much of their feminine side, you see it, right? They come into a relationship and they're unable to love. They're unable to show emotion. They're able to tap into those aspects of themselves, right? But then for Jasmine, there's the other side, which is creating good boundaries requires masculine energy. So you actually need to be able to create the boundaries to protect your own femininity first and foremost, before I get in there and I protect you, so that it allows you to let your guard down and become your full feminine self. Even then, you still have to protect yourself, because there has to be a guard in between that aspect. So yes, women like Jasmine do find men like Arris, but the difference between someone like Jasmine and someone else will be that if they have their boundaries up, they would have checked him a little bit earlier, right? Because as soon as he started doing that sex talk and you're uncomfortable, you've got to be able to advocate for yourself. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't do this because they're people pleasers, and some of us are wanting to accommodate. We want to be nice. We saw the same thing with Justin last season. The first day he met old girl Alexis, she was already telling him what she didn't like about him. And I said, if you don't check her there, guess what's going to happen? She's going to keep on doing it. You have to have boundaries, and that means you have to advocate for yourself. You have to be able to set what you require and what you like and what you don't like. And it may be hurtful for the other person to hear that, but the reality is that's what you accept and what you don't accept, right? So, and that's what protects the feminine energy in the long run. Because what you're saying is, this is how I like to operate. I want to be able to be in my space, but to do so, I need to let you know this is as far as you can come. Like you can't be saying those things when I barely know you. You can't be making me feel uncomfortable and I don't say anything, because you have to think about her long-term objective. In a year or 2, 3, 4, 5, Arris is the type to ask. Arris, like other men too, who are married and probably 5 or 10 years down the line, are asking this question: why did you change? She ain't changed, but you've been killing her slowly. Okay, you've been doing some Fuji stuff because she didn't say anything until she got fed up. You know what I mean? So one has to advocate for themselves and say something, so that we don't get to the point where we're now 5 years down the line, or 2 years down the line, or even 6 months down the line, and you're so frustrated, you're now coming out saying rah 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 rah, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, you never said nothing. You know what I mean? So yes, the feminine requires also for the masculine, and everybody has duality, and you need to protect yourself. That comes through stating boundaries and standards as well. Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, I was going to say the other part that I think I just wanted to be clear about is, like, you don't have to be a man to disagree with a man. Like, you don't have to be masculine to tell me that as a woman that I'm doing something wrong. Just because you disagree with me doesn't mean you're masculine, or just because you challenge my point of view doesn't make you masculine, right? And I think sometimes women think that that's the answer, right? We don't need to match energies. You just need to advocate for yourself, right? So if you feel like I'm saying something you don't like, then just like Kojo said, you tell me. That doesn't make you masculine because you're telling me that. Now, if you come at me with the same man energy, that's two bulls fighting. It doesn't make sense. That's not how we should be addressing conflict in a relationship, right? So just the same way, if a woman that I'm in a relationship with is coming at me sideways, I can't start acting like her. That's not gonna, that's why we say when men are having arguments with a woman, or if a woman is coming at you sideways, if you start getting overly emotional because she's overly emotional, you have two overly emotional people. If you have a man that's coming at you aggressively, and then you're going to start being aggressive to him, you have two aggressive people. That's never a good combination. We need to be who we are, but still be able to advocate for ourselves. Right? So I don't think you need to just do exactly what the person is doing. That's kind of like the eye for the eye concept. And that for me is not an effective way to handle relationships. I think it's something that has become acceptable because it's like, we have these expressions that are very well accepted, like you go low, I go to hell, right? So we just kind of start going down a path, but that kind of, problem resolution is toxic, because you're having a problem with something I'm doing and the way that I'm doing it. So you're just going to do that. You're going to mirror the same thing I'm doing. So now your way of handling issues is the same way as the problematic man. So you're equally problematic. So I just think I want to caution us from saying like, oh, if a man does this, then I'm going to be a man too. No, you're still a woman. Men and women are different. I'm still a man. So I can't do things that you can do, and you can't do things that I can do. So that's my little caveat.
I don't have anything except for I think this segment, I really hope you can box it up and splice it, because I think that is something that is often missed, is boundary setting and mixing up that, setting boundaries is not wrong. And you can better protect who you are as a person the more respectfully you place your boundaries. And I love the Justin example, because you don't have to act crazy and be blocking people because you withstood all of this stuff that you really didn't want to take, and now you're acting out at the end. You don't have to get there if you kind of cut people off respectfully, and then you're able to be who you are. So I think that was a really good point. Both points.
Exactly, and that's literally what it is. It's self-advocating for oneself. And again, like Sean said, and like Sue said, just want to again reiterate, it's not about being masculine when you step up for yourself or advocate for yourself. What we're saying is that is part of the masculine energy. You need both. You actually need to have both. But you operate in your feminine, but you use some of the masculine to, because masculine is all about the protection piece, the provision, the and that aspect, right? So you use part of the masculine energy in order to protect your own femininity, which is, how do I set my boundaries? What are my standards? I speak up. I tell you, hey, Mr. Arris, you know what? I appreciate the fact you want to talk about sex, but we're on camera and I don't want to talk about it. This is not what I want to talk about. So we can talk about this after, but this is not the place to talk about it. You know what I mean? Or listen, this is not me. I don't want to. And so he has to learn how to respect that boundary. And if he keeps pushing it, you know what to do now. You can say, this is somebody who's disrespectful, doesn't respect me, doesn't respect my boundaries. He now has to go. But I think the biggest thing here, and I want to just point this out as well, is I don't want to confuse Jasmine being feminine and friendly and mix it up with not advocating for yourself as being feminine. That's not what's happening. Also, take into account her history. She deals with men who she builds a bear for. This is also a part of the problem and the aspect of why she probably can't also advocate for herself. She chooses men who she sees potential in. She's potentially doing the exact same thing as what she's doing for Arris. He's got the possibility to change. He's got the possibility to grow. If I give him enough room, if I'm enough patient, or if I'm accommodating or loving enough, he will surely see the light of day. The reality is, he ain't never going to see the light of day, because until someone tells him that his behavior is reckless and is endangering for the person, he ain't changing. He's going to be the exact same way. So I'm also looking at it from that perspective as well, that, sometimes married at first sight, I don't like the experiment, but I feel like I'm starting to see what they're doing now. Okay, them goons at the top said, you know what, the things that you are not good at, we're going to put you in a relationship with somebody else who's going to test those things you're not good at, and we'll see how it works, right? They, and I think in this particular instance, Jasmine's need to also build a bear and look for potential is now playing its role. And will you learn your lesson too? Because Arris has got a problem, which is he can't connect emotionally with women, and it's showing up right now. And it's going to be is it going to be a perfect storm, or is someone going to learn? And are both people going to learn in this instance? Because he's got the non-emotional side and he doesn't have to connect, and it ends up with sex, and she likes to see potential. Perfect storm, and this ends up being a potentially, I wouldn't even say toxic, but I would say someone's going to lose out in this situation. And more than likely, it might end up being Jasmine, because if she gives her body over, that's exactly what he wanted. You know what I mean? So it's yeah. Go for it, Sean. You want to say something? Oh, see where it's Sean, whoever it was.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I think it was Kioma Tate, she made a good point about aggression is also emotional. And it is, when a man is being aggressive, that is an emotion. you know, and when he is unnecessarily aggressive, that is him not having control over his emotions, right? That aggression is in us for a reason. It is there to be tapped into when we are to protect ourselves in harmful situations or protect our loved ones, right? But just going after our loved ones with aggression is when it's being misused. So that is 100% a lack of emotional control. And many would say it is a feminine characteristic because you are out of control. Now, we can debate gender norms and things like that, so I don't want to do that, but I will just say that it's definitely, you don't have emotional control. You're not stable if you lash out at the people that you love and you use your aggression as a man against them. That is wrong road, and it shows instability, you know. So you have to be able to control your frame, and again, that's why I think it just reinforces this point, you know, for us. And I think bigger than Aris and Jasmine, like when we think about our relationships and how things go awry amongst conflict, this speaks to our conflict styles. And if we don't put ourselves in check, if we know, like, hey, listen, somebody comes at me sideways, I'm coming in guns a-blazing, and you feel right. And we've seen that on so many times on Ready to Love, right? When people feel justified because somebody came at them sideways, and then they go guns a-blazing, and then it just turns into unnecessary mass destruction, right? And a lot of times the relationships never come back from that, whether it's friendships or the love relationships. So I think we need to kind of check ourselves when it comes to that. Like, what's your conflict style? What's the way how do you handle it when somebody comes at you a wrong way? And we can't always match energy, right? Protect boundaries, like we were all saying, I think is the key to it. Protect our boundaries, set our boundaries, be firm, but you know, you ain't got to come with karate chops and kicks because somebody is, you know, talking a little sideways to you.
Okay. All righty. Okay. We got a few more minutes, so because I got to jump off and then we have to do a part 2 a little bit later. But who should we tackle first for next 5? Who's who are we feeling?
Clint
Clinton and Gina?
Because Gina
double
was
standard?
on one. What do you think, Siwa?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could do Clint and Gina and not come back because the rest of them were born as crap. But Clint, I was falling asleep. I heard Miss Misha say she fell asleep, child. I fell asleep. This episode was so boring. But Clint and Gina, they made the episode.
What was your thoughts around it?
You know what? This is, I know women are big offenders of this, but just in life in general, if you dish it, you got to be able to take it. I'm big on that. Whatever I put out, whatever energy I put out, I need to be able to take back. And I feel like everyone should live by that. If you cannot take the energy that you're putting out in the atmosphere, don't put it out there. Because the stuff that Gina was saying was like a white person's version of racism to other white people. Like saying that you don't like ginger characteristics, that felt racist to me. I don't know if it is, but it felt like kind of like back in the day, you know, in America where Irish immigrants were the first N-words, they were the first Black people. Like the way they treated the Irish, like they were also not the first, but they were one of the marginalized groups of people at a point in time. And they had red ginger features. And to hear her say like, I don't like ginger features, it felt off to me. It felt racist to me. And then she kept going on multiple times. And I want to contrast that with the way the other Black couple, help me with the names. I'm so bad with these names. The bald head and the pretty one.
Kirsten and Shaq.
Thank you, Kirsten. Yeah, the way Kirsten told Shaq that she didn't like his bald head at first, but then she kind of like reversed it and kind of like massaged it and said, you know, she likes where she's at now. That was still, you know, maybe she didn't need to say that, but she really kind of eased it over. It seemed like Gina was just like nailing it over and over and over again, 5 different ways, the way she didn't like this man. And then you see in the preview, she's gonna kind of bring it up again in front of company, but mad that he turns around and said that he liked somebody who was more slender. How are you mad at that? To me, it's just ridiculous, and I didn't like it. And there's more tactful ways of saying that someone wasn't necessarily your type. Because to me, it's like if you say that to a person over and over and over again, too early in the relationship, and I think Clint alluded to this, it was so early on in their relationship that he was saying that, you really kind of leave a bad taste in your partner's mouth that you may not be able to come back from. I just felt like it was too early to be sabotaging like that. So that's just my thought, and it felt racist, and I didn't like it because I'm trying to figure out what ginger features are. And the gag is, I don't know if the other people in the comments barely saw a difference, and maybe it's just a black thing where we don't notice these small things that white people notice, but his hair was hardly different than her hair. I swear I didn't even see it. And so she made this big deal about the fact that his hair is red. His hair barely looked red to me. So, I don't know. Thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think it's racism, though. I think maybe, you know, harsh, but he's white, so it's not racism. But I understand where you're coming from.
There's a word for it. I'm not saying it's actually racism before someone try to correct me, but there's a word for the discrimination that Irish immigrants felt in discrimination against gingered people. I just don't know it.
Yeah.
So someone knows that you can drop it in the comments, but it is a thing though.
Oh no, I definitely know that back in the day, you know, Irish had a hard way to go, you know, which is why when the Queen passed, God rest her soul, many of them were, you know, aligning with some of us people of color too, because they too, you know, have a history of colonialism and things of that nature. But it is, I just want to just call out that it's not racism, you know. So I think the you know, her opening the door for that conversation just is going to set the stage for future discord in them. You know, like, why would you, you know, she pretty much just kept doubling down on it, and she was like, and that's who you are. And he just sat there in silence. I watched the after show. I don't know if you saw it, Coach, but when Gina started describing her type, which is another thing why I say that it's not racism, because it seemed like she likes the brothers. You know, she was like, I like darker skin and this and that and beards. Because even when they were talking with Shaq, and he was talking about his experiences with Kirsten about his bald head, she was like, I like a bald head, I like a beard, and all of these things. I like dark skin. Gina probably likes the brothers. If I had to guess, you know, also her body type, she's a little more curvy. I think she might be liking the brothers. And plus she got that nose ring. It's a couple tells in there that it might be the brothers that she's more so, you know, maybe had experience in dating. And sometimes that happens with you know, with white girls is, you know, if they're a little thicker on the thicker side, they can sometimes land in the pond with us fellas of color over here.
Not the pond.
Well, hey, I'm trying to use my words wisely, so I'm just bumping my gums at this point. However, I think, like, ultimately she opened up the door. She opened up the door for him to go full tilt. Again, I just gave a whole thesis on you can't match energy. So I hope Clint doesn't, you know, fully unload a clip on her, because there's a lot he could unload on her about. So I hope he just takes it easy, you know. But she asked, he told. That's it.
Yeah, so I think there is an aspect of anti ginger against, it's a prejudice. There's a prejudice and discrimination against being ginger. There is a real thing that actually happens amongst white folks. So that actually is a real thing. But you know, I think Glint, Gina and Clint, their issue and their situation. I think what's the most difficult thing about them is the fact that, you know, I think her way. I realized that her pontification at that point was not necessary. Like her need to break down how she felt about him. Just I don't think it was even needed. Like it didn't feel like she needed to say all of that. And then the wording that she used in that moment in time as well was just problematic. I was just like, babe, like how are you describing your situation with oh boy in this particular way? I was like, yeah, that's not going to encourage anybody to want to be drawn to you. You know, I'm struggling, I'm trying to be like, and I was like, what Gina, where did this Gina come from? Where did this uppity Gina come from? Sis was so focused on her business and everything like that. And now we've got a situation where, you know, now we've got a situation where, you know, she's complaining about what Clint said to her. And I to be fair, Clint said it in front of the other group. That's the only reason why I think it picked up traction. But I was like, why are we doing this, Gina? Why are we saying all of this? And then I was like, okay. And someone said it actually. Celery kind of put it out there. I think she was getting in there before he got in there. You know, I think she sensed something, and maybe she started to self-sabotage a little bit. You know, and that for me just tells me that there's a little bit of fear there, a little bit of hurt, some wounds there in her life that, you know, when it comes to dating, you know, because it was just like, babe, where are you going? Like, what the heck is happening here? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we talking to Clint in this way? What is the emphasis of speaking about him and him being ginger and him you know, him not being your type, you know, and then going batting on about gingers and they're not really what you normally go for. I was like, babe, why are we doing this? That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know, why are we doing this? That's what I wanted to know. So yeah, for me, I saw that and I thought it was unnecessary. So I don't know what Clint maybe done. I don't know what she felt Clint has done to her, whatever. But yeah, she self-sabotaged out of that place, boy. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, she doesn't like him though, and I think, you know, she's well within
That's
her
true.
rights to not feel that way. But I don't think it's a if P then Q. Like I'm just seeing this. Oh, she's trying to get ahead of the enemy. No, she's not. She just doesn't like him. She's not attracted to him, and she even said it on the after party rather, that they were having this banter that was very open, and she felt like they got to a point where they were too honest. So she's just not that into him. And I mean, she's well within her rights to not like him, and he's not her type. It's going to be what it's going to be. But I think she could have said it a whole lot differently, and I don't think she needed to like ram it down his throat. And as much as I think Kirsten is a top level elite gaslighter, she hasn't like ram jammed it down his throat directly. You can just read the room and see that she's not. And I think it's okay. Like if you're not attracted to someone, then you don't have to kiss them. I don't care, married at first sight or not, you shouldn't have to. Now, hopefully part 2 will get to dive into her elite level gaslighting, because she gonna gaslight if she gonna do anything else. Now that you can miss me, but I rather that, because it's a softer pill to swallow. It's much softer to swallow versus Gina. She's just coming in guns a-blazing. And meanwhile, during the process, she talked about how, you know, she did a lot of work to lose weight and she hopes that she gets somebody that's accepting of her. But straight out the gate, you just boom, 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 boom. You're firing shots because the guy doesn't physically match what, and then you say, well, I guess, you know, attraction, it can grow. There's no growing, because now you got in his head. You're going to tell me I'm unattractive and you're going to like nitpick all my features, and then you're going to tell me attraction can grow? No, it can grow. You can go. How about that?
Absolutely, but I just sorry, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay.
No, it's all right. I've spoken of it. You good. Go for it, babe.
I was just going to say, well, that's all I'm saying. Like, she's in her right not to think he's cute. And I agree with the comments. I don't think she likes black men. I think she likes Italian men. Maybe she'll dibble and dabble, but that's fine. But as soon as he said that she a big girl or a big girl adjacent, she should have took it on the chin and smirked and kept it moving, because you already knew everything he said. So if you gonna talk, if she would have just said it one time, I would have said, nah, you didn't have to come with that girl being bigger than what you normally would date. But she said it like 3-4 times, and who knows what else she said that they didn't get on camera. So where she messed up is, if you gonna talk about that man in 11 ways, if he calls you a big girl, you need to take that on the chin. And I would have respected her for that. If she would have said, you know, you ain't for me. He said, well, you ain't for me. All right, cool. That's what you should do. If you have insecurities, you can't be talking about other people. That's where she messed up at. Not liking him, because he wouldn't be my type either. Even as a white person, he wouldn't be my type. But yeah, but if he would say, you know, I don't like you, you bald head, you this, you that, I'm gonna have to laugh, because I done talked about that man. So I'm just saying. That's where she messed up at.
I'm gonna say, when are we gonna, you know what? When are white people gonna call out their own stuff? I'm just sorry. When I hear white folk talking about I only date brunettes, it's given I only date light skins. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's given the same energy, okay? You know, I honestly, because the way she came at him for being ginger, that was given I don't date dark skin babes, I date light skin babes. I'm just gonna tell you the straight. That's what all I was hearing was the same old thing. Okay, that was the same old thing I was hearing. I was saying that same discrimination. I was saying that same energy, and it's like, honestly, it was so. When she started with, you know what, I'm not really feeling this. The physical, physical attraction is not really there at the moment. I'm trying to grow into it. He said, you know what, I feel the exact same kind of way. I'm feeling it. Do you know what I mean? Da-da-da-da. It could have ended there. It's the fact that after there's a little bit of a conversation before that, and then it goes into. You know what? I don't date. You know, I don't really do gingers. You know, da 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 da. You're not that. You know, not that. You know, I'm not saying that you're ugly per se or anything. Baby, it's giving. You dark skin and I only date light skins. That's what it was giving. That's what it felt like. You know, that same kind of energy, or even the reverse. I only date dark skin, I date like whatever you want to call it. But it was just like, it was honestly gingerism. Yeah, it was some hardcore gingerism, and it was like how does the hair translate? Because she almost made the hair or the ginger hair translatable into a personality. That is what I'm talking about. That's why I said it's if you don't deep it, they have their own issues. This is why they probably promoted us and have our colorism, because they've got their own issues in their community. Because she changed the fact that he's ginger into his own personality. Like, gingers are like this.
Well, I will tell you, I don't know if they say it as much here in or as much over there in the UK, but they say redheads and ginger, they're fiery, right? So they have like fiery personalities. So it's a whole bunch of things attached to their hair color and the freckles and this and that. Sometimes they'll call if a woman is ginger, they'll call her a fire crotch. So there's all types of little silly, goofy things. So.
I think Coach is frozen.
Yeah, he's definitely frozen.
But you know why he unfreezes? I even learned this on TikTok.
But she might not even be a firecracker.
Oh.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. No, I was saying that I know obviously it's like odd, because we're kind of talking about, we usually talk about this in our community and we're talking about their community, but it's literally the fact that she was linking, like, if you start linking hair color to what someone actually does, that is problematic, right? Because we saw Brent, what's her name? What was her name from last few seasons ago, where Brent and another girl were talking. What was her name? Red hair as well. Is it Brent? Was it Brent? Her name?
Brett and Ryan.
What part of Brett was fiery? That girl was the most palpable girl. She was nowhere near fiery, not even close. We didn't even get any fire from her. So when we start linking,
fired up that app and was dating during the season, we just didn't see it. And she was messy as hell. But I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, when you start linking someone's behavior to a hair color, that is problematic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and so for me, I was like, oh, okay, wait. You know, I said they got their own issues in their community, bro. Like they're moving mad in this thing, and you don't date gingers because what? Because of a characteristic? Yo, that's wild to me. Just saying, it's just wild to me. Man or woman, when they say those things, I'm telling you, it's wild to me. You know what I mean? It's bad. It's wild to me. But you know, hey, who am I to say anything? I'm not in the white community, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. Poor gingers. They're out here getting shot for no reason. You know?
Listen, they can dye that hair a different color. I'm sorry. I'm having a tough time. I'm having a tough time with the sympathy. I'm sorry. I can't. They can dye that hair brown. They can dye it whatever color they want to dye it. They'll be okay.
No, but they still notice. They still notice. They can dye it a different color, but the features they notice.
Yeah, that's the turn.
But I just can't give too much. I just don't have the energy to just overly sympathize with gingers. I'm sorry. That's just me.
How can you not? They go through a lot of pain and struggles, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I can't. I'm sorry. But I hear you guys. And I understand that it's, you know, it's probably not the most fair thing in the world, but I'm definitely not going to, you know, really go down that avenue of let's just, you know, have a whole sympathy train and, you know, campaign for gingers to have equal rights.
Okay, but
it's not equal rights.
Anywhere, injustice anywhere. It's injustice everywhere. Okay? So
yeah, no, not there. I'm sorry. There's too much else going on and I'm not interested at all. I'm saying, you can go off. You can run a ginger campaign. You can do all of that, but it won't be me.
It's not about crying about the gingers. It's the fact that if she's willing to go on and on and on about a ginger's features, what do you think she's saying about us?
And again, my perception, some would disagree. I think she likes men of color. Everything, a bunch of things together tell me Gina likes.
You just want Gina's titties on your forehead. She don't like no men of color.
I'm not attracted to Gina, truth be told. And when everybody was running around saying she's attractive, I don't find her attractive at all. I
think she's a little bit attractive.
No, there's nothing at all. However, this is what my experience with people of you know, the other color and persuasion. Certain things, when you start to build little pieces of the puzzle together, that I told you before, the nose ring, she's thick, you know, her personality, the way she's described them. Yeah. And again, just because a woman likes men of color doesn't mean she's never dated white guys before either. I didn't say she exclusively dates black men. I just said I think she might like them. Because she was very complimentary of Shaq. She was like, I wouldn't have any problem with you. She was very complimentary of Shaq. So that leads me to believe she's a little open to, you know, to the brothers. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. And that's what I see. So for the person that said groupthink, this is the opposite of groupthink right here on this one.
I definitely hear you. I definitely hear you on that still. I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at it. Just, yeah. And then obviously Clint choosing the group to say what he said. Timing. I always say this timing. I think if he had done it personally when she was alone, one-to-one with him, it would have been equal measure. But the moment he said it from the group, he gonna get cussed by the whole group. They don't have context. They never saw what happened before. So, you know, and then obviously then he forgot that he said about she's slender, because he actually did say she's slender. I don't think that's even an issue personally, but you said it from the group. Again, that's the problem. So yeah, I think there's some issues there, which I think both Clint and old girl Gina have to sort out. I think, you know, choosing your timing is wise. Choosing the time when you actually speak up is very, very wise as well. So yeah, let's quickly talk about, obviously I've got a bit of time, so let me just talk quickly about Kirsten and Shaq, because Dom and McKinley, I don't know what the hell happened there, to be honest. And I don't know who the other couple is now. I can't remember who their name is. So let's talk about Kirsten and Shaq real quick. what was your thoughts this week? You know, Kirsten and Shaq. Let me put a little video clip, and then you guys can discuss. You know, they had a nice little conversation in the hammock. You know, they had a nice little conversation in the hammock.
A little bit.
I think that's what I like you the most.
You're definitely growing on me.
Growing?
I know.
What?
Most women say this about their husbands, so.
I'm gonna say it again. I don't want you to choose me if you think I'm ugly. I've told you this a
Please,
number
y'all, I
of
can't.
times.
Can't today.
See, way you can. We can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. Can't do it. She don't like him at all. She don't fancy him at all.
She don't want to be talked about on this platform. She done seen the way y'all done talked about the rest of these women up on these platforms, and she not gonna have y'all talk about her. So that's all she doing. She playing nice. She done seen the way y'all talk about these women, and she said y'all ain't gonna talk about her. That's what's going on. She's trying to give him a chance, so y'all can't say she didn't give him a chance. She don't want to be Jasmina. So, because she was starting off looking like Jasmina, but this episode, she was cuddled up with him, looked like she was trying. She was being nice to him. You know. Maybe she really is warming up to him, or she playing in our face. I'm not sure.
See, wait, if she was watching this content, she would know that we hate that, the attraction grows. And I don't like you, but there's a possibility. And all wives go say this about their husband. Lies, because you specifically said what you are attracted to. And she's on several occasions said she's not attracted to this man. So, and then she goes sit in his lap, look in his face, talk about, oh, I'm not a good kisser, so I don't.
I thought maybe she was telling the truth.
That is a gaslight. I've never ever heard a girl say, I'm not a good kisser. Never.
She said that, I was like, oh, maybe she's really insecure about that.
Seaway, cut it out. Cut it out. She don't want to kiss that man. Come on now. You know better than that. She lied in our faces the first time when she said, oh, he should have asked her for a kiss up at the altar. And that's why she didn't, acquiesce to the kiss, right? But then next episode or two, she asked her brother for a kiss, and she was like, oh no, it's too soon. We need to take our time. No.
She don't want to kiss on camera.
She don't want to kiss, period. She don't want no kisses with that dude. Meanwhile, she's told him, this is the gaslight. When they're laying in each other's arms, she was like, oh, I know you think I'm beautiful, right? How do you feel about, not being able to kiss me? You gaslighter. She's gaslighting him. Don't play with me.
She did play in his face. Look, I was just trying to give possible scenarios. Don't shoot the messenger. I was just saying maybe she is scared to kiss on camera, but that doesn't stop her from kissing when they're back in their room and whatever. So I'm not saying I believe anything. I don't have an opinion yet, guys. So y'all can have your opinion. The jury's out. All I know is that besides the issue that we all know that we ain't gonna talk about, but we all know, he really is a nice looking man. And the only way to really get down to figure out what the true tea is, she's gonna have to push a little harder to figure it out. Because he ain't a bad looking man. She should push a little bit. She should explore a little bit. Figure it out. But outside of that, she could be Jasmina. She could be telling the truth. I'm gonna lean more towards Jasmina because she gaslit him about that altar kiss. And she seems to be well versed in Married at First Sight. I think she's trying not to look bad. But yeah. Oh, what did I learn on TikTok? I learned that white women are really frying their hair. So like on TikTok, on like hair TikTok, where with the white hairdressers who do extensions on white women, and these white women are bleaching their hair to the point where their hair is fried, like ends are horrible, all to be blondes. Like, I didn't know how many white women are bald head, all to try to be blonde. And they're getting the bead extensions and they're getting their version of extensions. They're getting like tape-ins and different type of stuff. And their hair is actually in shambles, all to be blonde.
All right, y'all can go follow Seaway on Mrs. Dior 22 on TikTok for all of this, because I definitely didn't come straight for work for this conversation. The genderism, and now you talking about me about white women and their edges. I got to go. Back to the point. I got to go. We don't back know. To our regularly scheduled programs. I'm not here for this foolishness.
We'll sit on here and talk about everything else, but you can't take 5 minutes.
No. Absolutely not. We got a limited time frame here tonight, baby girl.
We've got extended time, guys. I've got over half an hour, so I've been given off extra grace. So
half an hour, bro. I'm telling you, I didn't rush to talk about white women and their hair problems.
What happened?
Answer the question. Go get a snack. I don't think you ate that.
Who had an issue?
I did not, and that's how you know me.
Who had an issue?
And I'm very hungry, and I've had a long, trying day.
I can tell you a little cranky. That's what I'm telling you. Go eat. I just ate.
I am, but I just want us to elevate this conversation to something outside of white women's fried edges, because that's what we're not gonna do.
They were asking me what did I learn on TikTok, because when you were frozen, I had said I learned something on TikTok. Then you popped back in, so I didn't finish it. So I was just explaining what I learned on TikTok. It was related to the white people and their version of colorism with their hair color stuff. Yeah, that's all I was talking about. But God forbid I explain anymore, because I don't want Sean to.
We need to get some white folk on here to explain that stuff. They're suffering out there, guys. Okay, and I feel their pain. Okay.
We done stress Sean out.
I will put my 2 weeks notice in. Not even 2 weeks, bro. You're gonna get an on-site resignation. I'm out. I'm out on that note. Goodbye.
I'm trying to put you on, Sean.
Take my everything. I'm out.
I'm trying to let you know. Okay, so white women come
I don't care to know. I don't care to know.
They already said you dip and dabble with the others. You already dipping and dabbling with the others, so I'm trying to just put you on.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna bid you adieu on that note now.
Oh man.
Oh Lord. Not during Black History Month. You're right. You're right.
I was on a call.
Oh, is it? Okay, he's on a call. What are you saying, Oni?
Not from the hospital,
Alexa, please cue Fantasia, Free Yourself. I mean, like, her friends Kristen's friends pretty much told everything. Like, you know, they knew she wasn't going to like this guy. And it's like, it's not even the first week. And she's telling this guy this. I feel bad for Shaq. I mean, he has good intentions. I hate using the word nice. It's just that she's just not reciprocating anything. I'm like, there's people, if there are characteristics you don't like about a person, it's fine just to walk away. It's like she's being forced to stay with this guy for the next 7-8 weeks. She's not making herself look bad. So I feel bad for him. I want to say backbone, but it's just like, I wish he'd just be more assertive in what he wants out of this relationship, because they're going to go as far as Kristen lets them go. And just, she wears the pants, he's just going to follow along. So we'll see what happens. But I agree with Seaway.
Hey, I personally think, you know, when I watched it, I was like, I think, Seaway, you mentioned it about the whole, and Sean as well, about the whole kiss situation. I actually genuinely believe her about the fact she's conscious about kissing, right? That's not why she's not kissing him, though, per se. But I think, and I'm going to give my theory here, right? The reason why Kirsten is single and on this show, it's not that she can't get man, it's she can't emotionally connect. I'm going to be very honest with you. She can't emotionally connect with people. I'm going to be very honest with you. There is some trauma there. There is some emotional avoidance when it comes to dating people. And that's her biggest issue when it comes to dating, right? It's not the collecting, it's the maintaining aspect of it, right? Because when you mention, and I'll be honest, I'm going to project a little bit here, yeah? And I spoke to someone, I was like, I don't like kissing too much either. I could have sex before I kiss somebody. It's just that it's easier for me to do that. But when you actually deep reason why one, I didn't really like kissing because I didn't think I was really good at it. I'll be honest with you. And number two, the other aspect is I have intimacy issues. So when I think about intimacy, I think sex is more easier than kissing someone. I think that's really intimate to kiss somebody. So when she mentioned that, my thing went off. I said, "Yeah, I know who this person is." Those of us who have said this bar before know exactly where it's coming from. You don't know how to connect emotionally. You like to keep distance between yourself and another person. So this is the reason why she's been single for this long. Because she's a very beautiful girl. Of course, she'll always have attractors coming her way, but it's the maintaining issue that she's having. And I'm not saying that Shaq can change that, because Shaq ain't even the one to change that, right? Because she doesn't fancy him in that sense. But maybe, maybe she hasn't long enough, maybe she'll change it. But the reality is, I personally think she struggles to emotionally connect with people. And this is a part of that situation. So yes, and the fact that she doesn't fancy him, she's not going to now start trying to kiss him to try and change her behavior. There is no motivation, there's no impetus, and there's no need to. I'm going to say that, it'd be like that sometimes.
I mean, you said it. If she doesn't like him, it'd be one thing if she did like him, if she liked him and she had these requirements. I get that, but she's already coming off as I really don't like this guy, or she doesn't have a low level attraction for him, and she's trying to build it up to the point where, like, okay, now I feel comfortable doing these things. You're leading this guy on, because this guy's been in since the minute he saw this girl. At first, it's like he has to ask me. Then it's like I'm not attracted to ball heads. It's just like the goalpost continues to move. And it's day 3. What's the one nice thing she's actually said about this guy? It's so far. Besides, like, I'm glad that you were able to keep up or finish the ATV thing.
Yeah, I totally resonate with what you said, Coach, because I always joke when I see people like kissing on these things, especially Ready to Love. We joke, and I used to call them COVID kisses. Yeah, it depends on the person. But if I'm attracted to a woman, we gonna kiss, we gonna kiss. But if it's like, it's somewhere in between, or, the chemistry isn't necessarily there, but there's an attraction, then it could be, it could not. Or if I'm really into her, then it's going to be a little different. I just am putting when I said it, it's like I'm putting the pieces together, because I just feel like she keeps kicking the can down the street, but I definitely hear from your point, there's probably some intimacy issues, but it's the playing with me. It's the sitting on my lap and tell me, I like when you kiss me on my head. And it's not like I'm saying I need her to like full in, give him, swap tongue and spit. No, but he leaned in for a kiss. You denied him. And then you said he should ask. He asked. You said no. She could even give him a little kiss on the cheek. But she's not into him. And it's okay. I don't really have a problem with it. What I have a problem with, again, just like with Gina and Clint, it's how you are handling it, right? And although Kirsten is for sure not being completely rude, she's being a little dismissive, and she's kind of like being nice, nasty, and kicking the can. And I will say she don't like him, because when they went on that excursion, she left him in the dust. She was like, bro, you're going to have to catch up. I don't care what your trauma was, what your near-death experience. I'm going to get this ATV, and you need to keep up. And I'm not even looking back. I'll turn into a grain of salt if I look back for you. So I think everything annoys her about him. That's my thought.
Definitely hear you on that. Steve, we're going to say something. Do you want to add something?
No, Kojo, you're 2 for 2 tonight with the gems, making me think. What you said about the intimacy problem and the kissing is something that I didn't really think about, but it's probably because I've been told that I can be a little shut off, a little cold that way, not just in relationships. Like, my mother accuses me of never kissing her, never giving people hugs. She says the only person I kiss is my little dog. And so maybe it resonated with me when she said that, because I've been accused of that as well. And I didn't really link it to intimacy problems, but there is some type of wall or some type of some type of something. I guess now I should think about that. Because when she said it, it didn't resonate as BS to me. It resonated as real when she said that. When some of her other stuff has screamed BS, I felt like she was partially telling the truth there. And maybe that's why I could relate to it. But I do agree she doesn't like him as well. So that's an added problem. So,
and I think also as well, like getting some, and of course, some you can, and there's different formats of this because you can like somebody, but you struggle to want to let that person too close to you. It feels almost like they're clingy, or it may feel like they're doing too much. It may feel like, you know what, this person's kind of impeding on my personal space. Some people we like to keep our personal space. And I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, and I was like, normally, if I like you, I don't mind you impeding on my space for a little bit. But if you do too much, I start getting annoyed. Whether you're my girlfriend, whether you're a friend, you start impeding on my space. And it's because I like to hold a certain level of independence. And that person clinging to me gets annoying. And I realize it's because the way I deal with my emotions is that I tend to try and keep some level of distance or some level of an independence from people. I like to have a little bit of space between myself and others, to hold people off a little bit. I don't want you to be too much on me, right? But it's my attachment style. And so when she was saying that, I truly do believe that was her genuine thing. I'm not a great kisser. Like, why was she? Because, for her to do kind of like depreciate herself in that moment, I was like, yeah, no, she's telling the truth. She ain't lying about that. She generally does feel that way. And of course, is added with the fact that she doesn't want to kiss him as well. So it's like, it's a double whammy. You know what I mean? Like, you don't like to do that behavior. And then this person, you don't like them either. It's even more annoying. You know what I mean? So, but it's something that she's going to have to work through to get over. Because when they had a conversation later on, when they were talking, she was like, oh, I don't want you talking at me. I want you to talk to me. Because he did go on a little monologue. I can't lie to you. Shaq be doing little monologues, and the monologue was a little bit of a let me teach you moment. Like, oh, you need to. She was like, oh, she needs him to hold that emotional space, for her. And then he was like, well, you need to, I want to be honest with you, you need to be intentional with yourself. You need to be intentional with yourself. You need to be intentional with yourself. And then that's when he went a little bit of a monologue talking about how. And it was so funny because she was like, she wants to have more space to be able to be more emotive and talk about herself. And Shaq was like, I feel like I talk too much about myself in this relationship. But the very next thing that he does is then he says, you know what, advocate for yourself, and then the camera cuts, so we don't know if she spoke. It cuts and he ends up talking for the next minute or so about himself. So the very thing that you telling me that you don't want to do much of, you keep doing. So I'm not saying that's going to cause her not to want to kiss. I'm saying there are two sides that are happening here of learning on both sides. You know what I mean? So it was just interesting to kind of see that aspect as well. So yeah, I don't know that part. Only you open your mic, go for it.
Oh, I'm not saying she can't have standards, but again, like, she's not making any indication that she actually likes this guy, which is that's the obvious thing. Like, I agree with you, but that's the main issue that we're having. If she had any inklings that she liked this person and she was reserved of doing these things on camera, I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. But it's just like, she's making it hard for us to believe that she's going to need this much time in order to feel comfortable, and then now proceed with giving infection. And has Shaq said anything damaging or anything to reduce her trust in her? The only thing negative he had to say was them delaying the honeymoon by one day. And we've seen how she reacted about that. It's a good thing you could say she apologized, or at least her tensions toned down when they got to the honeymoon, but it's one day. Everything is like, unless it doesn't embed Kristen, she's unhappy and she's willing to concede. And this is how it is during the first week. What's going to be when they start tackling bigger and harder issues? It's Nicole and Chris, like, they are not ready to have that type of conversation at this chicken point. And it's not because of Shaq, in my opinion.
Miss Nebraska, you want to join the conversation? We're talking about Shaq and Kirsten. What's your thoughts?
Hello to the panel. Good evening. I think that Kristen, I think she's faking the funk. I think I agree with Cecily, what she said earlier. I think she's been watching the previous seasons. I don't think she wants to like be the villain, so she's playing it safe right now. And it's giving fake vibes, obvious fake vibes. You can tell she's not into the guy. She's giving him several reasons why she don't want to kiss him. So I think she's playing it safe right now. That's just my thoughts on Kristen.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kirsten is a slow burner, but not this slow. I'm just honest with you. Slow burner, yeah, I hear you, but not this way. And I'll be honest with you. This is the same thing with Miller and the girl situation. We all knew she had a slow burner. She don't want him, and it's okay. You know, it's okay that you don't want the person. And yeah, she's probably trying to protect her reputation. She wants to make sure she doesn't get seen in a negative light. Doesn't want to get seen as being. But the reality is, the more excuses you give, the more we see you in that light. So you're still being you're still kind of doing yourself a disservice. But she was honest in some aspect where she said, you know what, I wasn't initially attracted to you, and I'm trying to grow that attraction towards you. So that was a level of honesty that was needed. Do you know what I mean? I think the further honesty is, you know what, me kissing you right now, I'm not there yet because I'm not fully attracted to you, and I don't want to give the false impression. Because what she did say to us in the green screen confession was, kissing leads to sex. That's what she told us, right? She told us that for her, kissing is going to lead to more things, So she has that in her mind as well. So I think personally, I'm not really angry at Kirsten, to be honest, per se. It's not like she's doing a horrible job or anything, or trying to nuke him or anything. We just want her to be a little bit more honest and be like, hey, babe, we know. Listen, girl, you see the bar lead, it's not for you. You're not on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't drag him into a long thing, and then asking him to hold an emotional space when you know that you ain't gonna be there. Yeah, that's kind of cheeky. You know what I mean? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Sorry, who wanted to? Nebraska, you want to say something again?
So I'm just curious. Do you guys think that the producers on this show this season like deliberately did this on purpose? Do you think that this season is a little bit more dry, like they're trying to create this like drama for ratings? Like what are your feelings so far about this season?
You're asking, you think it's drier than normal or more exciting than normal?
I think it's drier than normal. I think the producers tried to like shake things up this season, but it's not giving the ratings that they're normally used to. Something's off about this season, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I wanted to get you guys' perspective.
I think they did pick more on the surface normal people, but I think they're going to get some natural organic drama versus trying to like throw crazies into the mix and then seeing what happens. I think there's going to be some natural drama with Clint and Gina as like just like regular two people who don't get along. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that's going to go on with that young girl and that older man, with his family, the biracial girl and her husband, and then Arris is Arris. You know what I mean? So I think it's starting off slow, but I think we may get some organic stuff that we haven't gotten other seasons when they just throw nonsense together. But I also don't see any good matches this season except for maybe Nicole and her husband. Everybody else is just like a horrible match. So I don't know. I think they try to switch it up, I guess, to answer your question is what I think.
Crystal, welcome to the conversation. We're talking about Kirsten and Shaq. What's your thoughts?
To answer your point, well, hey everyone, how are you doing? So I don't think it's drier. I think it's about to get spicy, but I do think that they have had a lot of backlash about the previous seasons, and so they're really not the crazy mess that was the hurricanes. And I think that a lot of people did not like, seeing Black people like that. So, and not just Black people, just everybody. So I think that they probably tried to go in a little bit of a different direction, but it's gonna get messy. Shaq, I'm really glad that you guys are saying this and having this take on it, because I was like, this girl, she don't like him, and she's being rude, and that's fake, and everything even the sound of her voice was annoying me. And you okay that I just don't like kissing, and I was and I just don't kiss a lot. I was really, but now that you say this, I am of the mindset that maybe there is a little bit more something there, and she doesn't like him. But besides that, I don't think that she knew what she was really getting into. When I say that, yes, she knew she was getting married, but who they're putting her with, she's like, oh, well, he is actually something. And I might start to like this guy and everything. She's like, I really wasn't attracted to your bald head when we first started. I'm glad that he's about to start to speak up, because he's like, I don't know if I'm doing good or bad, because she's not giving him anything. She's not giving him any type of affection. So I'm hoping that he does start to speak up, because he's giving her a lot of excuses. But I was like, oh no, this girl, she's becoming really evil. And I actually thought that there was some Jasmina in there. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. But now that you guys are saying this, there's some brick walls. There's some huge brick walls, because I feel like she's already friend zoned him. She's friend zoned this man, and that's it. Also, I appreciate, because I've driven ATVs in Canada in rough terrains. It was my first time doing it. And actually, that's one of the safest things you can do. But at the same time, if this man has trauma behind, car, being in a car or something unsafe like that, you should consider that. You should, be a little bit considerate of that. And she was just like, oh, I just thought that he wasn't going to do it. And she kind of started to tease him. I was like, you're really not even considering that this may be kind of traumatic for him. I take it easy and stuff like that. I'm careful for a reason, and people have been careful. My family's been like careful around me for a reason. But I'm glad that he, tried it. And with people like that have been through a specific trauma, you ease them into stuff like that. Because I really thought that she was going to just be really be belittling about that. I do want to talk about how I think that when he gets nervous, or when he goes back into his teaching bag, when he's like, when a conversation is not going the way he wants to, or he starts to that mentor thing. I don't think it's on purpose. I don't think that he looks at her like one of his students. But I was like, oh, you're going to have to just keep an eye on that, because he's not talking at her. But it did start to sound like that. If you're somebody that has a brick wall up, and you're talking to someone and you don't express yourself the way somebody else expresses themselves, and she just needs a little bit more time, and you've been a teacher and you've been around people and you've had like training in this, and you just go for it. It did sound kind of just preachery, and I don't think it was intentional for him to do that. So it's just something for him to watch. But I was like, she's going to look for a reason not to like him. She's going to look for a reason to have an issue. And, but I think he's going to start to speak up. I'm hoping that he starts to speak up, and because I feel like he's intentionally taking it easy, and that's not going to work with her. That doesn't work with her. You got to be very straightforward. That's it for now.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about the ATV situation. I remember, I don't think I watched it, but I was listening to it on my headphones, and I do remember. So it reminds me of last season with Stasia and Nate situation. So I have to give the equal smoke, which was I said the same thing. I said when Nate decided to pop off on his ATV and ride ahead, that's not how we do things. Especially when you're in a partnership. That's the unfortunate thing, you know. Without at least there being some form of communication. You want to go fast, I hear that, right? But without there being some form of communication, and letting the other person know that's what you want to do, you kind of leave that person in the lurch. Do you know what I mean? And you again, it's similar to Arris as well about forcing the boundary out of somebody. You know, there needs to be communication in the aspects of boundaries, and you know, you want to be able to communicate and talk and say to a person, hey, look, you know what, this is what I want to do, and you know, I want to be able to move in this particular way. But she didn't actually do that. She just decided we gonna go this way. Now here's my thing, okay? If Shaq doesn't get the balls to create boundaries, he gonna get dragged in the mud, because the person he's dealing with is no fool. The person he's dealing with knows she's a fine ass babe, and now I spoke about this in the dark arts. I said, when someone has your number, we match ourselves against people. And when someone gives you all the cards they're holding, when I let you know that I'm fully feeling you, I found you attractive, and you can see all your cards on the table, there are some people who will just take all your cards and run with it, which is what happens later on when they're sitting down on the hammock situation, and she's able to say confidently, you know, I know you think I'm nice, da, 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 da. She can say that out of her mouth because she knows exactly where you stand. And that is where you're going to have the biggest issue. So without there being someone to stand up and say, hey, look, do you know what? This is my boundaries. This is what I'm about. I got to let you know. Shaq is too accommodating and too understanding right now because she's such a fine babe. That's his biggest issue. It's not that he's understanding. He's understanding to a point because she's such a fine babe. That's where you're going to have issues. I'm not about to give you more than I need to give you. I can understand to a degree, but if you start to step on my toes, I gotta let you know you're stepping on my toes. Or if I think you're offending me, I gotta let you know. And I feel like Kirsten knows what she's doing with Shaq, and she has some level of power over him because he's shown all the cards. And this is, you know, unfortunately, this is what's happening here as well. So she's gonna use him for an ego fill, because that's what he's gonna end up becoming. He's gonna fill her ego, you know.
I was going to ask you about that. What did you think about when he says, well, you don't have to prove anything to me. I think you're beautiful. Like I still get butterflies. I was like, stop saying that. That's because like you said, that's that ego. Yeah, I still get butterflies seeing you walk down the aisle, and he's oozing it. So he's putting on all of the butter and sugar on this girl. And she was like, I know he likes me. I know I don't have to do any work. She doesn't have to do anything for this man to like her and for it to keep going. And he needs to speak up. And actually the horse thing, that actually gave me Olajuwon. And I was like, are you teasing him? And maybe that was off camera, but I was like, you got to stop. This man's already had a trauma and he's never been on an ATV. So you just like, let him take some time. The one time might be slower, and then the next time he'll do it and he'll feel a little more comfortable. And like, or like Vincent and Brianna with horse, don't just, man's never been on a horse. You're going to put him on a horse? That's something that could really kill him. So don't do something like that. I've been on an ATV, but if you've never been and you got trauma behind it, it's not a good idea. But I feel like she is somebody that will quickly turn belittling if she gets the chance, if he, you know, if he lets her. He needs to speak up. He needs, but I also think she doesn't like him. And there's some issues there. There's some walls there. She's like, I can put the walls up because I don't have to do any work.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to add to swing the pendulum a little in the other direction. You know, I definitely thought she had a point. Is the way he, and we talked about this a little bit, the way he positioned going to the conference with you know, to her. He could have definitely done a better job in terms of making it an option and also just presenting it to her versus telling her this is what we're going to do, right? You know, I think I'm not sure what his degree is in, you know, this master's or PhD, whatever he just recently obtained. But I could see him coming off being very, you know, I'm going to tell you what to do. So those two energies together, that's also, if he wants to maybe find a path to attraction with her, it's not going to be that way, right? Because if she's already not physically attracted to you, you know, you're going to have to find ways to connect with her in other ways. And I think it's about getting to know her, getting to connect with her. You know me, you know, listen, you may not like to kiss, but do you like a foot rub? Would you like a back rub? You know, I'm here for all of those things. So let's just get to know each other. But I think he's too busy talking about all his life, what he done. And really, that's not going to impress her because she's not attracted. She might, and it's unfortunate, right? When we're attracted to people, our tolerance meter is high. If we're not attracted to somebody, everything you do is going to get on our nerves. So he needs to be smart enough to pick up like, hey, listen, she already said she's not really that attracted. She dubbed me with the kiss at the altar. I asked her for a kiss and she said no. Let me try to see what are some things that Kirsten likes. Like, what do you like? You know, you like a foot rub? I rub your feet. You like a back rub? Let me rub your back. You know, let me give you a scalp massage. Let's do something. You know, because what he's doing right now is just going to land him. It's not even going to land him in the friend zone. He's going to be a friend of me.
But he's got to stop with his forehead kisses. He's got to stop with the
icing him out. No, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with a forehead kiss. That's, you know, whatever. And she seems to like it. So just do more of those.
I'm not about to do that, any of that shit. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not about to do it.
It's your wife, bro. You gotta stop it. It's a wife.
But that forehead kiss is not going down. It's not going anywhere else. That's what I'm saying. He's got to stop.
He needs to open up her emotional chakras, right? So if she says she likes it, listen. And listen, as men, we need to listen to the women, right? If they say something physical we're doing, they enjoy, then I'm gonna kiss that forehead. You know, I'm gonna kiss you with your eyes.
I hear that, but the other behaviors.
What'd you say now, Kojo?
Oh no, I said the other behaviors are not aligning though with that. So whilst you may like that forehead kisses, you know why she likes the forehead kisses? Because one thing you have to also understand, and this, I'm going to break down some game for some of you people out here. This is why men are in red pill right now, because they're getting used for this kind of thing, right? There are some women out here who happily will stay in certain positions where they get their ego fill and their emotional security from you. This is why she's asking for Shaq to emotionally hold the emotional space when she damn right knows that she don't fancy him and not telling the full truth. See, if you want to be honest with me and say you want a real relationship with me, you got to be honest with me fully. That, you know what, at the moment, I'm not really feeling you at this particular stage. We're not 18 and not 16 anymore, so we're grown-ass individuals. So I can sense when your energy's off. I can sense when you're not really feeling me. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm giving you forehead kisses, all it's really promoting is safety. And it's promoting emotional safety in that regard. And all it's doing is filling up your ego, because you got somebody, and I call this what we call emotional boyfriend, emotional husbands, where people start filling up particular roles. And yet the person, and this, the person who she's going to give her real energy to, it won't be you. You know, so I'm definitely down for giving women and saying, when your woman says to you, listen, this is what I want from you. Let's listen to our women that want us when they're telling us this stuff. Let's not listen to women who are trying to get, who is not giving you a reciprocation, because you're out here begging for a kiss after old girl done already told you, that listen, you didn't ask for a kiss, that's why you didn't get a kiss. Then he asked for a kiss and she still moved the goalpost again. That is not the person we asked to find out what you really want, because you don't know what you really want. In fact, no, I tell a lie. You do. It's not me. Okay? It's not me. So this is her creating her emotional boyfriend in Shaq. She's about to waste the next 8 weeks creating an emotional boyfriend, getting all the emotional treats that she can get from him. She's going to use him for therapy, okay? Because she's going to release all her inner thoughts and hurts, and Shaq going to take it all in, and Shaq going to be a good-ass boy and take it all on board and say, you know what, this is what you can do, 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 this is what you can do. And she's going to get some healing from this and leave his ass at the altar and find her real man in the next few months, because she's done healed from using you. Okay, I just want to let you know. Okay, I know you don't want to hear that stuff, guys, but some of you guys are literally a therapist and a counselor and an emotional boyfriend for people who really don't want you. They don't want you, and that's okay. Go for it, Sean. You open your mic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm with you, but I think that's why you have to keep trying different avenues, right? Because I want to be able to come to you, especially in a process like this, to be able to say, hey, listen, these are several things that I tried, and I still don't see that there's an interest. Now let's talk. Like, let's just have an honest conversation, right? And it don't need to be on camera. But look, if it's not working for you, let's just be upfront. Let's be honest. And that's all I'm saying. And I think, like, when somebody is putting up that kind of force field that she's putting up for him, I don't think he has the capacity to do it, right? I'm just saying that. I think that there are other avenues and ways to handle it, to see if there is a connection that could build. And that would be trying different things. Okay, you don't like to kiss them. What do you like? Right? Okay. Let's try that. And let's see. Now, if you still are not up for it, then we gonna call it quits. But I'm gonna give it the good college try. I sure am. And I guess I'm a little more determined, because I want to know what it is. Because if we're in a married at first sight process, I need to understand. I need to make sure we've explored all avenues. And hey, listen, you might not like the foot rub, but you might like the scalp. The scalp massage might do it for you. So bam, that's what we're gonna go with, and then we're just gonna build from there until we're both comfortable, or not, or you're like, nah, it's all I'm good on all of it. You can keep it all. Then I'm like, fine. Then let's do the Chris and Alyssa and make our decision day to day.
So there's a show on Netflix that's very similar to Married at First Sight. I can't remember the name of the show. And there was a couple on there, I think a season ago, that reminds me of Kirsten and Shaq. Like, it ended so bad because the guy was not honest with her up front about his sexuality. And I wouldn't be surprised if, we get that same storyline with this couple on this particular show.
That was the first Love is Blind.
Yeah, that was the first season of Love is Blind.
And he was bald too. That was Diamond and whatever his name was. He was lying his ass off.
Yeah, I forgot what I didn't watch that season, but
he
did
I heard about it
too. Wasn't he somebody's assistant on the Housewives or something like that?
Something like that as well. Yeah.
Look, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. When you introduce people who didn't have the capacity to choose each other, hell, when you introduce people who have the choice to choose each other, we still have these debates about who's attractive and who's not, who is whose type or not. So look, it is what it is. I just think we need to be honest and we need to be open to trying different things. And I'm definitely not going to be playing with you in this friend zone for too long while you run around gaslighting me about you don't like to kiss and you want to take your time while you're going to sit on my lap. That's because that's not what we're going to do. You're going to sit on this lap. You're going to sit on this lap.
Bro, listen, I'm all with you, but I'm just saying, listen, I'm gonna stick to my theme. That's why someone put it there. We ain't breaking walls down in 2023. Why are you giving her a chance, Sean, to figure out what's going on? She done told you what she's doing. She ain't feeling you. Like, there's even two. You're on strike 3 because we're already on the fact that, first of all, she doesn't find him attractive. We said we don't want anybody choosing us. We don't find him attractive. Then you're kind of backfiring on that. And then now you have to break down walls too. Sean, don't let the sexy look of her confuse you. Don't let it confuzzle you. Don't let it confuzzle you. Come back to the light, sir. Come back to the light.
Hey, listen, hold me accountable. I get it. It's just it's a tinge of toxicity coming out. Oh, And if we don't get there, can I just make a public apology? I apologize. I don't want to see near one more comment about Black people hunting. I was wrong. There is a plethora of young Black men that hunt all across the entire United States. I do not see Black people as a monolith. I don't want to have a myopic point of view. I am wrong. Black men hunt at 25, 16, 15, 12, 67, all ages. We hunt. We have mastered the art of hunting. Okay, so let's just.
So I can't address the blonde stuff, the blonde hair thing in the comments. But you talking about this old hunting issue? How that work?
It was a legitimate thing that came up during the show, and I'm addressing something very specific. You talking about white folks during Black History Month, the shortest month that we got of the year. Meanwhile, you wants to talk about white plight. I will not.
Well, I can tell you what's more concerning than that. What's more concerning is that I have some of my women in the fellow women delegation in the comments that I am concerned will accidentally become someone's beard because you guys aren't peeping the signs, and that's concerning me, ladies.
Who's a beard? Who's a beard?
We don't have to all
Take
agree.
her off the panel, please.
I need y'all to pay attention. I need y'all to pay attention.
Take her away.
Oh, are you saying that potentially that Shaq could be of that persuasion? Listen, we can be open to it. I'm not gonna say it is.
People are telling me that they don't see nothing. If you're telling me you don't see nothing, I'm concerned. I'm not saying we know 100% because we don't know nothing 100%. But y'all talk about y'all don't see nothing. Y'all are scaring me. Y'all are scaring me. Y'all are frightening me in these comments.
I saw it during his first entrance, their first introduction to him. But I don't think that's the problem with this current relationship. I don't think that's.
Oh no! I never said that. There's a lot of other problems, and that's the end of it. I said we ain't got there yet. I'm just addressing people talking they don't see nothing.
But I thought the same thing about Justin. I was like, and then we find out
Justin had a lot of issues. I think it was way bigger than that. He had a lot of issues, and it wasn't just that. If it was even that. I don't even know if that it was that. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you be, Diane. I'm gonna let you be.
I don't know. I mean, my radar's was off, so I'm not gonna say yes or no. But I would say obviously just that his behavior, maybe with old Kirsten is.
As soon as they start blaming Jesus for walking, blaming Jesus for breathing, Jesus orders they step to the buffet line. When Jesus is doing all of those things, be very afraid. Jesus is not doing those things. Jesus is doing everything, but he ain't doing those specific things. Soon as Jesus get ahead of their life.
I wanted to. JRX just said so. Is Kristen gay because she's not feeling Shaq? Shaq said he likes her, and obviously more than she likes him. No, that's not. Kristen's got walls up. I don't think Kristen likes anybody. Like
Who said that?
Jay.
Who said that?
JRX, our boy. And I said no. Kristen don't like. He needs to look a certain way. She's got all kinds of. I'm so sorry. Let me pronounce her name right.
Right.
My name is Kirsten. Okay. That girl, she's so picky. She's got so many issues. Like when the next guy that she gets with after this divorce, she gonna have an issue with them. So that has nothing to do with the underlying things we may think of. What's his name? Shaq. No, she's got so many walls. It's the poor thing. Something's up there. Not poor things. Issues.
Justin was just unstable. Just because you're unstable doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of people who are unstable that has nothing to do with their sexuality.
Well, Seaway, maybe just like we were talking earlier about, some women that could be in their masculine. Maybe he is just leaning heavily towards the feminine.
Who?
Shaq. Shaquille.
Oh, beyond feminine energy. He's not even super feminine. There's a lot of masculine things about him. It's not that. I'm not even saying he's feminine. I mean, yeah, he dresses.
Because I was looking in the comments and some of the ladies said that, you know, he has a lot of feminine mannerisms.
He has some, but some of that can be related to how you were raised. If you were raised with a lot of women, you know, some people can pick up different mannerisms. Yeah. I'm seeing it's something else. It's beyond that. But I'm gonna leave
Yeah,
it
no,
alone.
listen, I don't have a horse in the race. So
he could be metrosexual. It could be just like, you know.
It's not about his attire. When you
Like
start talking about God led you to marry at first sight, I done been there and done that. I know exactly what that means. God did not leave you to marry at first sight. No, he did not. At all. I'm just saying, I done seen it before.
not you prophesying.
I'm just saying, I done seen it before, and I think it's a problem. But God, it had nothing to do with him being married at first sight.
So what do you guys think about Dominique?
You ready
I can't
to move
really
on,
read her.
We haven't got there yet. We haven't even got the time to get there.
Oh,
We haven't
okay.
even got the time to get there. Because I gotta bounce. So listen, Sean, do what you do best, buddy. Sean,
I
what's
blame
saying for you?
Seaway in this whole sidetrack on gingerism and white plight on their hair. She wasted a good 10 minutes.
You being a colorist. You a colorist. You've been a colorist. Now you're a colorist against these.
Good night. Send her to the backstage. She goes.
I'm gonna have to rewatch. Wait, I'm gonna have to rewatch.
Her to the backstage.
I'm gonna give it a timeout. See, we get a timeout. You get a timeout.
Yeah.
Off with her head.
Did y'all cover Arris? Did y'all cover?
Yes.
Has a previous engagement. We hate to maybe a part 2, may or may not. So listen, folks, we had a lively, spirited, shorter than normal live. We talked about some of our favorite couples. I think some of the lessons we learned tonight, if we think about Aris and Jasmine, please put your boundaries up. And also, if you're looking to get to know a lady, fellas, please get to know her before you start talking reckless, okay? Allow her to, get to know you before you start going there. So, and if you have never been in love, married at first sight is probably not your next stop to love. So that's just a little bit of feedback there. Shaq and Kirsten, look, don't gaslight us men. We want to know, we might give you a little bit more grace if you look like Kirsten. I don't know. Listen, depends on the guy. But, be honest, be upfront. Don't keep changing. If you don't like us, don't tell me, jump 2 steps, hop 2 steps, and then change it to 20 steps next week. All right. Just be upfront, be clear. Also, listen, if you're not attracted to somebody, and that's well okay, that you're well within your rights to not be interested, for somebody to not be your type, but also be nice, right? Because the same grace and love that you should extend, you want extended in return. Back to you, Kojo.
Appreciate that, Sean. That was crazy. That was lovely. I appreciate it. That was good vibes, man. Sean, Anu, Miss Nebraska, Crystal, Seaway, absolute pleasure as always. I'll be trying to do part 2. I'm gonna listen. If you're up late, at 10, 11, then about probably 11 actually. Let's be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. About 11 o'clock, part 2 will commence for this, because obviously there's 2 more couples we need to talk about. So that we'll do after as well. We've moved Sisters to Sunday just because obviously I had some other things I had to do today. So if you watch Sisters, we'll have the live on Sunday just before we have the men's panel, so you guys can watch that as well. But yeah, listen, it's been really, really good. I'm about to hop on to another channel. You will recognize it if you watch Ready to Love. I'm going to hop on to Suan's page. She's invited a few of us to come over and have a quick conversation. So if you watch Ready to Love and you're interested, listen, jump on, because Suan's got her little thing going on too. So her channel is actually called Suan Robertson. She's also a lawyer as well. I didn't even know that. So see what that's your kind of people there. But listen, audience, it's been amazing. Listen, all I can say is, listen, please leave the ginger people alone. They are also people who have feelings. Okay, all right. And I don't like the fact that certain blondes and brunettes are discriminating against my ginger people. Okay, all right. And we need to put a campaign up for them. Okay, I see the injustice that they feel, and I feel some way towards that. So free Clint. You know what I mean? He also needs to be appreciated as well. Okay, we're equal opportunists on this channel here. Okay, we fight for injustices. All right, Sean. Yeah.
And Sean's not
Yeah.
a color where people start bothering him. I'm just playing.
Yeah.
But I know that's something the next thing. Ooh, what? Sean's a color? I'm just playing, y'all.
Don't worry, everyone's well behaved here. Everyone's well behaved here. Don't worry about that, guys. Sean is a good guy. All right. So I'll put the link in the chat if you want to go to Suran's page. We're gonna hop over to there. But listen, it's been great. It's been amazing. It's been powerful, guys. We'll pop over for part 2 about 11 o'clock ish, and we'll start part 2. So yeah, yeah. Be easy. Yeah. All right. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's not much I wouldn't do. So